Yeah. I know, I feel bad when I don't finish these things and when we go past. But if you guys keep on reminding me, you're still learning and you're enjoying what we're going off topic about or what we're discussing deeper about, right? So I'm okay with that. And why isn't John here? Austin, will you go yell at John and tell him to get in here? Please?
I would love to.
Thank you. Austin's God. Yesterday, everyone was like, who's God? Because I'm like, hey, God. And then they realized what I was doing. All right, ground rules. We're going to go over this every single time because it's important. Damn it, why is it Austin recording? When he does that, it takes it away from me. All right. Introduction, ground rules, arrive on time, form your groups quickly. She'll love how they make us go over this every single time. Be fully present, turn off your phones, put them on vibrator off. Respect the reality of time and participation. Remember, how you participate in here is how you participate everywhere. And respect the different learning styles and opinions of others, help each other learn. Respect the confidentiality and enjoy your time in here. I like to have fun. How many people watched today's team meeting, the weekly meeting? Christy, our ALC introduced themselves, and Christy Hill, if you don't know who she is, she's pretty fun. She's almost as fun as me. She was pretty energetic, right? Did she make you want to be a part of the culture club? We're not calling it a committee, apparently. It's going to be the culture club. It was great, right? It's going to be a fun committee to be a part of. But she likes to have fun too. So what I loved is she threw a picture of Boy George up there and no one knew what it was. I turned on the music at the end and people were like, I don't know who that is. Yeah. I was like, was that with Kay? Okay. So why are you? It keeps on saying, where are you today? But all right, where are you today? We're supposed to go over every day, but I moved it to the Fridays. We're going over how many hours of lead gen did we do? How many appointments? Thanks, Jennifer. And you win a prize if you have any appointments for the week. Why are you here? Well, we want to learn all the building blocks to have a business that's worth owning, right? In order to do that, we have to LG. We shortened it to LG because there was one class, a constant said region, and then LG. So yesterday, if you weren't here, we went over marketing, how to market yourself. And to be able to market yourself, you have to know what your brand is, right? And so we went over all of that. And today, now, we're going to learn how to leverage our database. And a lot of new agents are like, I don't have a database. I don't know anybody. But everybody has a phone. And in your phone is your database, right? That's your people. Start out by plugging everybody in your phone directly into your command and tag them. Of course, I know we all have, I'm sure, lots of phone numbers that like AT&T or T-Mobile or is removed from phone to phone to phone to phone, right? I started going and deleting people and numbers that I don't know because or you get one and you do like spam, right? Tag it so the next time you don't have to answer it, right? So those you don't want to put in there. But everybody else that you know, that's your database. You start with your sphere, people that you know, your hairdresser, your barber, everything like that. So we're going to talk today about how to leverage our database and how to put it to work for us so that we can end up with 36, right? That's our big goal. 36, 12 months with 3 hours of lead gen every day, right? Who's been doing it?
I only got one in today.
That's all right. You got one in. That's awesome. And remember, your 3 hours of lead gen is 1 hour of prep, 1 hour of actually talking, doing whatever it is, doesn't have to be picking up the phone, right? And then 1 hour of maintaining, putting notes into your command or your database, into everything that you did and who you talked to and what it was and when you're gonna talk to them again, set out those appointments and stuff. So, all right. Let's get what Bruce has to say. What will make this a great training experience? Supposed to ask everybody every time. Participation. What do you guys think will make it a good experience? I haven't asked you guys that yet. Nothing? Sorry. Free food? Well, I have to cram my lunch in really fast before I come to these classes, so you can too. I know, me neither.
Participation, good subject matter,
The teacher,
good teacher.
are you checking off the boxes? Besides the food? I probably need some, I feel like I need coffee or sugar, and it's only Tuesday, right? Sydney, Starbucks order? I think maybe the way I started out my day today, everybody knows every day Tanya goes to Starbucks, right? Every day. I go to we do our mobile order. My daughter's my co-pilot and my DJ. And she places the order. We pull up to our Starbucks and they got a sign in the drive-through. I'm like, I'm running it over. Go over, pull up. There's someone standing outside. She's like, sorry, we have no hot water. I'm like, I paid. Like, and she gets on her headset. Taylor, Tanya's here. Go in. To get my money back. To go to the next Starbucks on the way in. Remember, a car full of teenage girls, right? Go to the next Starbucks. But then remember, this is marketing, right? Because they all know me by name. And I've given my business cards too. So I go out to my car to get back in it. And a guy pulls up, he goes, Cornelius, he goes, what's happening? I said, they have no hot water. He goes, Cornelius is shut down too. It takes me all the way into Hillsborough on 10th Street before I can get my Starbucks.
Something going on?
They're remodeling on that one out in the front, the sidewalks or something. I don't know. I just need that one venti. I drink water all day long. I don't drink any other caffeine, so that's the only one that gets me going. But that was how my day started today. Yes. Crabby Tanya. Okay. Power of your database. Everyone understands what the database is, right? Your CRM, your database, your data bank. They change it up based on however it makes you happier, right? So your database, your data bank, your CRM is a record of your business success. If you only have 5 people in your database, are you a successful business? No, because stats are, they're in here later, only a certain percentage, like a very small percentage of the people in your database are actually going to do business this year, right? I think it's, later we'll have it. I believe it was like maybe 12% of a database of 300 will do business in a year, which is still pretty good, right? Because I mean, we kind of figure if it's people we know, we're going to get business out of them faster than it would be a group of people that we don't know, right? So leads that come in are going to take longer, more work. We're going to get a lot more bad leads before we get a good lead, right? So those stats are going to be a little bit different than actually our CNS, but your database should be filled with a variety of people in it, right? The people we know and love, friends of the people we know and love, and our vendors, right? Those are going to fall into those 2 categories. And then people that we're just going to meet and that we're going to throw in. And hopefully, as we talked yesterday, we're going to keep on all those haven't mets are going to turn into MEPs, and then hopefully they'll do business with us, right? So if you think of the database as a record of your business successes, then it's gonna be a lot easier to feed it. Right, because we want to get excited, we want to feed more people into our database. So when you, every single time you talk to someone, you want to ask for their contact information, right? And you want to add them to your database. And we're going to tag them, because if we just have 500 people in our database and they're not tagged, we don't know who they are, how can we properly market them, right? How can we properly do our 36, 12, or 8x8, or 12, and our 36? We can't, unless they're tagged and they're marked. Otherwise, you're going to spend your whole day trying to figure out who am I going to talk to next and why and where are they at. You're going to have multiple tags. You don't want to have too many tags, because if you have too many tags, then it's going to be really, really hard for you to, it's going to get confusing, right, for filtering. Because then you're going to, and I've seen some people that have a tag for every little thing, and then they can have a buyer, hot buyer, cold buyer, you know, next year buyer, whatever. It's way too many, you guys. Simplify it, right? Yeah.
What do you think is like 10, 12? What's the right amount? Where do you start with tags? What's too much?
You definitely, when you start out, the biggest, easiest one to tag is your ABCs, right? A is your top 20, your closest sphere. It might not even be 20, it could be 5, right? Your closest people that are going to help market you, right? They believe in you, they want to help you grow your business, and they want to do everything you can. It could be your best friend, it could be your hairdresser, it could be your brother, your parents, it could be your CPA, it could be anybody that's actually like wanting to see you be successful. Because we're going to treat them differently than we treat everybody else that's in our sphere, right? B is going to be maybe your next, thinking of a bigger database, right? If you have a database of at least 300 is what Gary says is a good starting, although we bumped it to 5. I know, right? Because more and more people are staying in their home longer. So as we have, the bigger our database is, the more chances we are of having people do business for us. That's why the database is set where it's at, right? So if we have a database of 300 to 500, maybe we're going to take 40 to 100, right? As you grow, your numbers are going to change. Those groups are going to get a little bit bigger. You're going to have more finances to do more things with them, right? So maybe your top 5 to 20, 25 are going to be people that you're going to do the pop buys with, that you're going to invite to a client event. Maybe you're going to take those people out, meet them for lunch or something, because they're sending people your way, right? So those people are going to get treated a lot more special. And then the next group might be the next group that we send Starbucks cards to in the mail, thank yous, or we're going to send thank yous to everybody, but we're going to treat them not as nice as our top, but they're not going to be generalized with the rest. Everybody else is in the rest. Does that make sense to everybody? Because the rest might be someone that we met at an open house. It could be someone that, you know, that was referred over, but they're not doing anything right now, right? So they're just potential probable business that could happen out there, but they're not like core people, okay?
So is C the rest?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And then you're going to want to have, obviously, a seller and a buyer, right? Because we want to know if they bought with us or if they sold with us. And I would actually recommend keeping that in there, or because you're going to add past clients once they do close, because our past clients are going to get put onto a different drip campaign that's going to be like happy anniversary, home anniversary, right? But we still want to know, did they buy a home or did they sell a home? You're going to have notes. You're going to have everything else that you need in those sections. There's so many different ways that you can keep track of that. But when you can just get a quick glimpse and do a filter and just pull everybody that sold a home, maybe you're dealing with sellers different than buyers and doing a special event for all past homeowners, you know, that listed with you, right? So you have to think about that, like the whole thing on what are we doing with them. So then as you get busier and you start doing client events, then you're gonna add other tags, right? A lot of people do Pi Day. Are you gonna invite all 300 to 500 people in your database to Pi Day? That's a lot of pies. Pies for people who you haven't even done a transaction with? I'm gonna bring it up and I'm gonna do my A's and B's, right? So maybe you don't need a Pi Day for a tag if you have a system that you know that my A's and B's are going to Pi Day every year. But you've got to have that somewhere, right? Knowing and understanding what your tags are and how you're systematizing your people. You might have one that is newsletter, right? So that you know who's going to get added to the list to get my newsletter every month. Yeah.
I actually was working on this yesterday, entering up everyone into the command. And one thing that I came across that I was a little confused about is, so you enter in like the first person and then you can do their spouse.
Yeah.
But for the email, is that when you do the additional contact and then there is a second? Because there's not like a specific spouse email spot.
It comes when you enter their spouse and you hit OK, it actually goes and creates a separate contact for that spouse.
Oh.
So then you're gonna go and find the spouse and enter all their information in. Every single person gets entered in individually, but by adding it as a relationship, you're now putting them together,
Got it.
okay?
Okay.
But everybody, each contact that's entered in has to be entered in under a different email address. One email address per contact, or
Okay.
sorry, vice versa, one contact per email address.
All right, I've got to go just to finish.
Yeah, right, and you want to make sure that you put everybody in individually. One of the habits that a lot of agents got into with the old systems that we had was that they would put, Joe and Suzanne Smith. And so you couldn't, anytime we imported into a new system, it was a hot mess, right? So each individual person, and think about it too, as it goes out by when you're adding in newsletters and stuff, you can use the toggle to automatically have it fill in the contact name, first name, right? And everybody gets treated individually. So,
Well, good to know. I had no idea.
yeah. Okay, we kind of got scrolled down already. Look at that. Okay, so. Well, kind of scrolled out, but this is really covering all of it, right? So you want to record your contact information inside of command. Has everybody been inside of command in the contact? We know what's in there. You got the timeline, you got tasks, you got notes, you got everything. That's all there for you to track your interaction. And when you assign them to the appropriate marketing plan, we can do it by tags. The other thing about tags is the marketing plans are can be part of your smart plans, right? Which triggers you to mail something, or it automatically emails something, or triggers you to call or text or whatever it is. But you can start a smart plan and you can have a tag trigger. So like if I'm doing a Facebook ad, I'm creating a smart plan that is a tag triggered event. And I create my tag. So I have like Facebook ad, or maybe it's a specific area, Facebook Beaverton. And then I create an ad. So I create the tag and then I go create my ad. So as soon as a lead comes into command from the Facebook ad, it automatically gets tagged, because that's a choice you can do inside the campaign. And then that smart plan, because I've tag triggered it, now automatically starts. I don't have to do anything except maybe go see who the lead is and give them a phone call, because I want to do that first, right? But you want to leverage as much as possible, because we don't have time to sit there all day long and instantly respond to everything. So your very first thing is that they get an email that goes out, or a text that says, hey, and you can do the auto text to Twilio. And if they signed up through our Facebook, they've already agreed to receive text communication and email from us. Okay, so that takes care of that do not call, because they signed up and provided their information. Okay? That doesn't mean they can't unsubscribe, but they want something because they responded to your ad. So tagging is the simplest. So be like, there's a whole bunch of tags that KW already has in there that you can take a look at and see how they apply. Get out a sheet of paper and think about, how do I want to tag my people? And like, sometimes visually you need to see that laid out, right? So whatever makes it easier for you, maybe you create a spreadsheet that says, okay, these people get this. Think about what you want to do and how you're going to be purposeful in maintaining your database, right? You guys have a lot of prep and planning to do before you actually like, well, you can dive in and just go, but then you're going to do a lot of backtracking and trying to figure out stuff. So some of the best things to do is at the beginning of your business, set out your whole plan, right? When you start any other business, you have to have a plan to know how you're gonna get clients, how you're gonna pay for that, how you're gonna run your business, how you're gonna hire people. Everything is already pre-planned out and ready to go. You're starting your own business, so the best thing to do is to start it out from the beginning. Because I jumped in on a team who had it with 12,000 contacts and going backwards on that. It was a hot mess. It was a lot of time. And we ended up actually dumping a whole lot of contacts. Because they've been in there for years and we never contacted them. Why would it make sense 5 years later to try to contact them? Right?
Would it not?
Well, they were like,
No.
they were already paying for more new leads.
Yeah,
So we
yeah.
are refreshing it very
Mhm.
quickly. But yeah, building and understanding your own your system from the beginning is the best thing. The database is your biggest, most important part of your business. So when you hear doctors or lawyers selling their practice, what are they actually selling? Customers. And that's what you guys can do whenever you want to retire. Some people retire from real estate. Even if you don't want to retire from real estate, you're just done, you want to switch off, and you built up a database, do you think it's not worthwhile to pass it off to another agent who wants it and get a referral fee on that? Absolutely. That's the best thing to do. Why would you give up all that? Think if you had 300 people in your database that you've been marketing and you've been talking to for years, even if it's only 2 years, but you've been communicating with them, do you think it's not a smart idea to go to a newer agent or an existing agent and say, hey, I'd love if you took over my database, and if you get any transactions from it, I just want a referral fee? Terry?
Win-win.
I'm closing one this month because it's a referral. It's retired.
Terry's growing her business based off of a top producing agent in our office who's retiring and passing down all of her clients, and they've been working together for years on trying to get the clients to understand that it's both of them transitioning to one of them so they don't just lose them, right? There's ways. There's a book called The Golden Handoff that you can read. Robin did it with Cricket. Robin retired, but she's still here, right? She still will go hold an open house for her, but she just does referral fees. But they're transitioned together. Her name's still tied to it. And so it still appears that she's there. And Robin doesn't have to do anything to make money. We all know a referral check is a pretty nice little check. You heard this morning how much Cameron is getting a referral check for? 6 digits. Wow. It's commercial property, but 6 digits.
For giving a name.
For giving a name. I love referrals. Okay. You built your database. It's your business. I love this one. I about died when I saw this page.
A little Rolodex.
Yeah, right.
That's what I call it.
Yeah, the Rolodex. And how about electronic spreadsheet? Is that not Excel or Google Sheets? But there, I think there's a story here, Gary Keller. He started out with index cards. He started out in the 80s. I bet you could talk to Peter and Dwight and they'll tell you the same thing, right? We all have, I mean, our database can be right here, but if you're not utilizing it properly, you need to get it into a system. And that's why he created Command for you guys for free, so you can do it. Is that the one you have to use? Absolutely not. You use any system you want, you're just gonna have to pay for it, right? So, a contact management system, number 5 is actually, your CRM, right? You could use the rest of those, but all it's gonna do is just hold information for you, right?
At least 4 or 5 different than 4.
A database management system, I don't even know. Let's see what they say. Microsoft Access. So that would be like, they might have, is there even still Microsoft Access available? So basically, the first one is just a card telling you what information you have, right? So if you just write down your contacts, let's take it into perspective. You just write down a person's name, address, and email or phone number, right? They sign your open house sheet. And you don't do anything with it, you now have an index card, right? What's gonna happen with that contact? Absolutely nothing until you actually set them up on a system, right? Electronic spreadsheet, same thing. You can have more information, you can organize it, you can sort it, you can do everything, but it's not gonna set them up on any kind of automated system, right? A personal information manager, Outlook, same thing. You can do calendars, you can put them in there as contacts, you can send emails, but it's not gonna do an automatic system on it. I don't know, Anita, if Microsoft Access is still, most of the systems are now called CRMs, and it has multiple systems and things for you to do in it. Like Command does. The key here is which one's the best one? How about the one you use? Right? If you don't use it, you can have all of them. And it's not going to do anything for you. 4 laws. Build a database. Feed it every day doing what?
LG.
I need like candy to throw at you guys. Austin, bring me some candy. Some sugar to wake everybody up. You want to communicate it in a systematic way, which means everybody understands that there's tasks in command, right? The tasks will sit there until you go in and actually do something with it. It's a reminder. So get in the habit of when you're doing your lead generation, that you're pulling up your commands and you're looking at your tasks for the day. There's contact tasks and there's opportunity tasks. The opportunity has to do with your transactions, right? Contacts is what you need to do to talk to your people every single day. So part of your whole lead gen is going to be going through your tasks and taking care of the people that we already are in contact with. And then we're also going to be adding new people to our database every day. And we're going to create tasks for them. Setting them up on a smart plan will create those tasks for you. And then as you get in and you go to each one, you're going to check off what you're doing. And you're going to create the next task, or it's on a smart plan that's doing it for you, right? Unless you actually, like, let's say you put someone on like an 8x8, and one of the things is, you know, to touch base, give them a call to check in. And you get on the phone and you talk to them and they say, hey, yeah, actually, we've been thinking about it and we want to sell our home. Can we schedule a meeting with you? Absolutely. What's the first thing that you're probably going to do?
Set a time and date
And where are you going to put it?
in your CRM.
Most people will go put it in their calendar or on their phone.
In your
Right?
calendar.
Instant reaction. Oh, let me look at my calendar and I'm going to enter it there. You need to go into command as well. So this is why you should have these things open on your screen and put in task, put in the day before of your listing appointment, don't you think you should probably prepare a CMA for it? Right? Maybe a follow-up. Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow at 3 o'clock.
Mhm.
As a text or an email, whatever the preferred communication is, right? Because if you don't do that in your mind, you're all excited, you know you have it. Life happens over here for them. And they forget that they scheduled it because it was a week out and something happened. Right? So we want to make sure that and so you go in and you just create a simple task. Follow up tomorrow or follow up next week, or whatever day it is, to remind them of our appointment tomorrow. And then you also create another task the next day to check in on how it went, right? Follow up. So you can do all kinds of stuff, and that's it, right? If you're not using it, then it's not going to work for you. And you want to make sure that you're servicing all the leads that come your way. So if you have 300 contacts in your database, you better be touching base with every single one of them. Now, can I talk to 300 contacts in one day?
No.
Unless you're a major rock star and you're gonna work 24 hours.
It would take a long time.
It's gonna take a long time. So in Bold, they created this amazing thing called your DTD2s. And they took all the letters of the alphabet and they searched like most common last names, right? And they put a common one with an uncommon one. And you tag your people that, so that, and then there's 13 of them. So every 13 weeks, you're touching base with all those people that are in there, and it spreads out however many you want to do a day. So maybe I only want to talk to 20 people a day. All my A&Ws, I have 100 A's and W's together, and I'm doing 20 a day, 5 days a week, right? So I know this week I'm going to talk to all my A&Ws. And if I don't talk to them, I'm pushing them out to try again, right? Or we leave a message, but we also have them on if you have them on the 8x8, the 36 touch, or the 12 month, then you're gonna talk to them and there's gonna be a plan that's gonna come up for you to touch them in another way, right? Email, text, Facebook posts, anything, you guys, you can create it all. There are systems in there that are already preset. You just have to go start it, right? So that way, every single person is being touched without you actually having to call every single 300 person every month, right? You got to think about how you're going to do it. You see how it's easier if you start it now when you have a smaller database versus starting it later and trying to figure out how you're going to, it's a hot mess. Build your database. I think this is true for most agents. Many agents that they spoke to in research, remember when they first started in real estate, they thought for sure that the business would just start flowing in the moment they received their license. How many believe that? Yeah, right? It's easy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Is it?
No.
No.
Not for me.
They always thought of real estate as a business of showing buyers houses and putting signs in sellers' yards.
Why?
They soon realized, how long did it take, Cody? That it's not just the business of servicing clients. It is first and foremost the business of finding our clients, right? So the truth, the size of your business is going to grow. I love this. We're jumped ahead. It's going to grow over time, right? And it's all going to depend on how you maintain it and work it. So I thought this was kind of cool. Where your contacts come from. If you look at this, I know you probably can't read it on here, but it's on page 12. Look at all the different places. So we have a lake database and all these streams that are bringing more water, more people into our database. Office calls, demographic forms, FSBOs, withdrawn listings, expired listings, personal network. lead generating services, responses to door knocking, random conversations, open house visitors. Here's the big one. Look how big this one is. Friends, family, other agents, business network, personal referrals, business referrals, past clients, and builders. And then you've got your website, web searches, stealth sites, IVR calls, responses to advertising, geographic farms, responses to your mailers, community involvement, client parties, yard signs, and seminars. And then there's the outgoing. What do we think those are?
The ones that you drop.
The ones we forget to contact. Depending on your focus and your skills, some will be trickles that are just trickling in, and some are gonna flow. Find the ones, remember, we wanna work on 3, right? 3 main lead generating services that we're gonna focus on to help grow our business. You're going to maintain records of where your business comes from, so that if you find one isn't bringing in any business, either we need to look at what we're doing to try to get business from it, or we need to drop it and find a different thing, right? Because maybe we can reevaluate how we're trying to get business there, try something different, or switch to another form of finding business. Truly, the ones that work the best are going to be it should be this big, huge one up here, your referrals, friends, family, builders, business referrals. Your business referrals are people vendors that you go to, that you need to remind that you're a real estate agent, right? Can anyone give me some ideas of who that might be?
Your dentist, your hairstylist,
Yeah.
shoe shinist.
What was your question?
Who would be a business referral vendor that you use
Yeah,
that could help you with
So
your
the
business?
sewer repair people,
Mhm.
the foundation engineer,
Yeah,
contractor.
yeah. Do you see how you could feed back to those
Oh,
particular
absolutely,
ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, think about that too,
Yeah,
like
that-
how you can benefit them as well. That's gonna increase that two-way street, you
The
guys.
tree trimmer who just moved to Corvallis and is,
Yeah,
the building inspector I really like.
yeah. Good contacts. Are they in your database?
Yeah.
Good. Are we talking to them?
Yeah.
Good. Because if we're not using it, right?
Yeah, I talked to them over.
They're just a name.
This may be a little
I
bit
gave
off
them my
topic,
cards, I got their cards, I talked to them about how we could work together.
Awesome.
Sure. I
but
talked to them about the pushing realtors, because I started hearing this immediately. So the foundation contractor I had to hire, he made a face when I told him I was a realtor.
So you turn that around, didn't we?
Yeah, so the comment that comes pretty often is, I've been burned a lot.
Oh, wow.
They drop in, ask for a quote, and I never hear from them again.
Yeah,
They're just doing a contract
yeah,
with a client, right?
yeah.
And,
Trying to get pricing.
yeah, and so they're asking the seller for a certain amount of money to do a repair after
Right.
closing, right?
And then.
And they never hear from them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That's a
that's,
big caution.
that's very common.
It is,
Yeah.
I barely started and I've heard it often.
So how do you think we could turn that around?
The first thing I say, it's not something I would do.
Well, but there's times you need it.
Yeah.
Oh, you need it, but yes, but you're not gonna leave them high and dry.
But if your client chooses not to get it done or not use them.
So there are a whole lot of ways with that.
that was all great.
Oh, that's for Chris. Is he still out there? Chris Cataldo, right? He sits outside Austin's office. Thanks.
Yeah, there are a whole lot of ways to talk about that.
With our contractors, they know we do a lot of business, and they also, they're in the business that we are. Not every call is gonna turn in money for them, but at the same time, I always say, hey, but if you get this quote, of course, I pass it on to the client.
Yeah.
you're already gonna know you've been there.
Yeah,
So of course I'm gonna
It's
speak back
easier
to
for
you,
them.
but at the same time,
I know.
I'm not gonna say, oh yeah, and I'll make sure you get 40 grand later.
It's not a
No.
guarantee there.
Yeah, so
No,
yeah,
no.
just be, they know, they work with us all the time.
Right,
But if you just always call, you just get quotes. But at the same time, I can't force my clients to use them.
you can't.
So it's
Right.
kind of like, here's a client.
Some of them are finding that they'll just do a fee to
Yeah.
get the bids. Because it is, I mean, it is a lot of time for them to do that. But maybe there's other ways, right? Maybe you can work with them to like help with marketing in your monthly newsletter. Right, as a service to them. If I can count on you to always be available to do a bid for me when I need it, especially if it's something we get often, refer.
Mhm.
Maybe we ask. If I can count on you for that, knowing that we don't know if they'll use you or not, but I'm gonna include you in as one of my preferred vendors on my newsletter. Or on my website list, right? You're marketing them. If you're gonna do like mailers, maybe you even ask if they wanna share in some of the cost of it. Right? Cause now I'm paying for the majority of the marketing to send out all these postcards to people, and I'm okay with adding you in there. Cause maybe we're gonna talk about what you might need to do to sell your house at top dollar. Getting a new roof would be one of them, right? I know, but
Yeah.
we're gonna work it, we need money.
And you do have to be careful that you don't appear to be, instead of thinking of lawsuits down the line,
Mhm.
you do have to be careful. And it's an important thing to talk about, I think, because it's not something I thought about as a new realtor. I've been professionally in businesses where I could have gotten sued, but because I knew I was never going to do anything that anybody could actually sue me for. But this is different. You refer somebody strongly who does a bad job with their roof.
Yeah, you can come back, which is why we always do
So it's
three.
something I wanted to talk about.
So we always do three,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So if you're having someone on a list,
Mhm.
and we always want to get 3 bids. So we have 3 vendors for everything that we do.
So say you're doing a newsletter and you just want to have somebody in this list of things you might do to get your house in good shape to sell it. You're not going to have 3 roofers make a comment. So they're what, right? You're not, that's overkill. And so,
But you can have one market on there and say to view all others.
I'm sorry.
You can have one help with marketing if they want to help pay for it, or if you're compensating for
Mhm.
something. And then have them guide them to your website, the exact page, to view all of your vendors.
Mhm.
You just gotta, right, think about, just like lenders, you should not be sending everybody to one lender. Cause if something goes wrong, yeah, it's gonna be your fault, right? You always want 3. Okay, let's move on. Categories, haven't mets and mets. So. Your core groups of haven't mets are gonna be your general public. And your target group. Our target group would be like our farm area that we want to work in. Our farm area could be a physical location. Or not, right? So there's a target group of people that we want to work with to help. That would be a target group that we're looking at, right? So. Does anybody have any targeted groups that they're focusing on that they would want to share?
My neighborhood.
That's physical, yep. I'm thinking outside physical.
Oh,
Mhm.
Haven't done anything yet, but I want to focus on like first time home buyers,
Yes, I did that.
because I love helping students.
And those are the happiest. Honestly. Right? They're so sad that you help them get into their very first home. They're gonna be the ones that are gonna refer you the most. It's a great target to hit, right? And if you're gonna target first-time home buyers, we're gonna do a lot of farming and marketing to non-owner occupied properties and apartment complexes.
I was kind of worried that, like, putting up ads in apartment complexes, because they don't like that.
No, but you can mail them.
Yeah.
Some allow, some don't. When you think about where you're going, right?
Yeah.
But you guys all have access to be able to go look and see what non-owner occupied properties are, RPR. You can contact title company and get a list of non-owner occupied properties, renters, right? You can tell them, do you want single family homes or do you want condos and apartments? Do you want both? Right? Focus in, RPR is kind of nice because you can actually go in and actually get an idea. Because what title's gonna do is they're gonna go pinpoint, target, how many homes do you want? And it's just gonna be that kind of a target. In RPR, you actually can look at a map. And you can go, okay, maybe you wanna skip a certain area and come around it, right? I mean, y'all know where the neighborhoods and the areas that you wanna farm. So I'm sure there's areas that you don't wanna list in,
So
sell
there's,
in, right?
there's this thing on RPR where you can tell this owner occupied.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, you can do everything in
I
RPR.
really do. I had no idea.
Mhm. Oh, yes, you can go deep. It's called a little filter button. You can choose, you can choose actives and pendings and solds and leases and I mean, everything. You can even find properties that were sold but not marketed, right? So if they just went, they find tax records for it, that it closed. You can find everything in there in RPR. Basically, you're doing what a title company will do for you, but a title company is gonna go in and just do a pinpoint and do a radius around. I like going in RPR, well, I like to research. So I want to know exactly what I want, right? So I can go in and I can actually freehand draw a map. I can do a radius, and then as you zoom in, if you're zoomed out pretty far, it's not gonna show you because if you're out too far, it's too many properties. So you pretty much, you do have to zoom in pretty tight, especially if you're in a condensed area where the homes are like, right? So you're really gonna have to zoom in on it. But if you're in a suburban area where the homes have plenty of yard space in between, you're probably gonna get a little bit of a bigger picture outside, right? I think the max is like 500 homes that it'll pull up at once. Okay, it is a lot, right? And sometimes you're like, you're not sure, and you're like, oh, like, 'cause I helped Sherry do this with Charbonneau. And so she wanted to mail it to, she was looking for certain things. And well, we couldn't even include all of Charbonneau, just too many homes. So we had to really zoom in and be so specific about what we wanted to get. But everything you need to market and target to feed your database, you can do it in RPR. Then your METs, how are we gonna build that? We're gonna network, right? So your network group are people that you've met by person or phone, and they might do business with you, okay? And then your allied resources, that's gonna be pulling into your, maybe in your top 40, your B, right, your allied resources. So that's gonna be select subset of real estate related fields, painters, plumbers, appraisers, lenders, well, probably not appraisers because I don't want to talk to them, but lenders. I remember a time when we could. Landscapers, think about every possible person that you could help benefit that can help benefit you, right? If you have a landscaper that's suddenly been contacted by a new person to come redo their yard, well, what do you think? Either they just closed on their home or maybe they're prepping it to sell, right? Maybe they haven't talked to a real estate agent yet. Landscaper is a really great one to have, unless they live across the street from you.
Well, even walking around, when you said 2 dogs and so out. And there's this guy that's they've been doing tons of work on their house.
Yeah.
So he finally was around like that.
Mhm.
He's actually, he inherited it, he's fixing it to live there.
But you never know,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
Find some landscapers that you can have in your database and your contacts that you could like help each other. How many have done Justin's think bigger mindset thing or whatever he has? I brought him here once for new agents, where you build your referral line, right?
Is it the upstream one?
The upstream model.
Yeah,
How you can help others to help you so that you both feed each other leads consistently, right? Think outside the box.
He has the Zoom that starts tonight, you have to register,
Yeah, I
it's
saw
free
that.
on the second.
For the same thing. We actually have a copy of the one that he did for us. I think we videoed it, and so it's on our YouTube.
And what's that?
The upstream model with Justin. So basically, so like if you found, the one that he gave us as an example in the class was a painter. And think about how a painter can help you and how you can help them. So you can help a painter out by giving him suggestions as to what the most popular colors are for a home that's gonna get listed. So when he's getting bids from someone, instead of him just going into the house and giving them a bid to paint the house, you're gonna help arm him with a conversation to have with the homeowner. Well, what is your plans? What are you doing? Are you just doing this for yourself? Or are you looking at selling your home? And if they say, I'm looking at selling my home, oh, well, if that's the case, then we probably wanna go with this color because it's the most popular color for homes that are going the fastest at top dollar, and do the whole home that, right? So you're helping that painter, and then he's sharing your contact information and databases, right? So that's a way you can help someone else. So you gotta think, every single vendor that's out there, how can I help them to help me? Because if you just walk into someone and say, hey, I'm a real estate agent, will you please send people my way? Are they gonna do it? No, because everybody, no matter what service or not service they're in, they want something, right? You gotta be valuable to them. So again, we're thinking outside the box, how can we be valuable to a vendor? That will guide them to want to share our business cards with the homeowners. So basically, they're lining up homeowners for us. People that are interested in selling their home. That's where we should be focusing, right? Listings sell really fast right now, and we need a lot of them. Advocates. Advocates are your people who love you. People you've had past clients, people that are your family, your friends. You can have a family member that doesn't love you, that's not gonna send anyone your way. They better not be in the top 20. Let's try to work on that relationship, right? I'm giggling over here. They're out there. And then your core advocates. They're well placed. The examples they have on here. Owner of a sports team. We all want that one, don't we? Did you know there's now KW Sports and Entertainment?
how, yeah, it's expensive.
Yeah, but you're dealing with high-end people,
No, I know.
right? Ginny's now it.
What's that?
Jenny Hill is now sports and entertainment, but her focus is luxury,
Right.
right?
I know one realtor is plugged in with OHSU and the Trailblazer organization. So as
Mhm.
soon as anyone moves there, doctors,
Automatic.
surgeons, players, they go right to him
Yeah,
and he does all their sales and buys.
yeah,
It's
Yeah.
pretty insane.
find yours. I should have a really good intel, but my husband doesn't market me well enough, so. I wouldn't be doing this. Just kidding, I like doing this. But, right, executive at a large corporation, a builder, think about people that can be at a higher influence for you. That can guide people your way, right? Some of that could be by getting involved and going back to your community, charities, schools, right? So if you're getting engaged and involved in a certain company, nonprofit, whatever it is, the more you're engaged in, the more you're seen, the more they get to know who you are, and then you can market yourself, right? And if there's ability for you to do an event as a sponsor, that's huge. It might cost some money. These are things that we're gonna work towards, right? Don't spend it unless you got it. Okay. types of business, yeah,
Can I share a story real quick?
yeah, please.
So when it comes to family and friends, when I first got into business, I will tell you that my younger brother was the first person to say, I will never use you. I have a great realtor. I buy a lot of real estate. And I was like, okay, that's fine. Didn't worry about it. He's my best client. You know, because I had to prove to him over and over and over that I knew what I was doing, and
They weren't just a real estate agent opening up a door.
exactly, I knew what I was doing, and I had to do a great job for him, and I do a great job for all my clients, but I get referrals from them. I've sold 200 properties, helped them buy property, and I've also helped them find fund property.
Yeah.
So, but, and they continue to don't pick up on those family members that say that they won't use you because if they know that you're doing a good job and you keep at it.
And that could be anyone else too, right? Not just your family members, because we already know, everybody knows a real estate agent. Right? And so if they're like, well, I already have an agent. Doesn't mean you can't get the listing from them later or get another bite from them. Show them what you do. Say, well, I would love to sit down with you professionally and go over my plan. Let me talk to you about what I do and how I do it. And doing that, just even if, like, you don't even have to use me, I would just love to sit down with you professionally. Let's take the friendship, the family out of it, and let's business, have them meet you at the office in a conference room. Then it's not in a personal home, because sometimes they can't separate that, right? So separate it, show them you have a business and do it there. Y'all can get them. Okay, Mets, haven't Mets, and what type of business do they bring us? Your Mets should be repeat customers, they should send you referrals, and hopefully they become new business, right? Haven't Mets will be new business. If they can't be new business, or even if they are new business, they're gonna send you a referral, right? So even if you get someone that says, well, I'm not looking to buy or sell, well, do you know anyone that is? Most people know someone, right? Sorry. How large should your database be? So we're gonna have a night in April if you haven't taken it yet. If you have, we all know that we need to make 10 new contacts every single day. That's starting out in Ignite. When you get to bold, it's 20. When you get to bold, it's bold 100 in one day. I did it. Hated every minute of it, but I did it.
Is that like one?
It took me 8 hours. Actual top 2 dialed down a list was recruiting. That's
And
why I didn't like it. But
you could get their name and number and email address too, right? Is that what that's talking about?
yeah, to get a contact, you can't just put a name in,
Right.
right? You need some type of contact, email, phone number, to be able to put them into the database. If you don't have that, then they're not really a contact. And the more information you have about it, so let's say we have a contact. We have their phone number, we have their email address, we have their birthday. Hopefully we have their home address, so we can mail them something. If they're a listing, we better have their home address, right? The more information you know about a person, the higher likelihood of them actually become a very good Met that does all 3 of these, right? Because now we're personal with them, we know them, and they know us, and they're gonna wanna send business your way. So the more information you have, the better it is. So when you're contacting people, maybe it's a simple, hey, I'm, updating my database. I want to make sure your email address is still correct, or which email address would you like me to send my marketing information to? Some people want it at work, some people want it personal, right? So we need to make sure that we have the right information. But if you do 10 new contacts a day, you're gonna have 2,000 people in 200 days. Working days. Doesn't seem that hard, does it? And yet I say, hey, you better have 300, and some people are like, 300? You can do it. There's many ways of doing it. How about going into your Facebook or your Instagram? Probably in Instagram, I don't know, Instagram could be just like random followers, right? You don't know who they are. But Facebook, you know who they are. How about actually going down your friends list and adding them to your database no matter where they live? Because we can do referrals. And they're gonna see your stuff. They're gonna see your posts because you're gonna do business posts and you're gonna share it to your personal so that they can see your business, right? I've had people, classmates, most of my database on Facebook is classmates from high school because I was co-chair of our 20th reunion. And that was when Facebook first came out, right? Or a couple of years into it. And so I had, bam, almost half, or over half of our class, huge amount of followers. But I still have some of them reach out to me from Alabama or Georgia. Hey, Tanya, I saw your post the other day. Do you know, can you help me with this? Can you send me someone? Right? You guys can do it. So, but they need to be in your database. They need to be in your, and then you can go and grab their Facebook URL and you can add their Facebook URL to their contact and command. You can go to Instagram and see what their Instagram contact is and add that into command. So now guess what happens? Now in my prep, before I call, maybe I might mix my two together. So I pull up my contact. I click on, because that's my task, is to talk to this person today. I've got their Facebook URL there. I click on it. It opens up their Facebook. I scroll down just a little bit to see what happened in their life over the last week or month or whatever it is. And now I have something to talk about. Oh my gosh, I see you guys just
Your eyes did not go with what you're saying.
right? Like whatever it is. But now you, oh my God, you're paying attention to my life.
Mhm.
You're paying attention to me. You care about me, even if you don't. Right? I know. But I mean, like, but it's important to know, like, what's, hey, I saw you started a new job. That's great.
Mhm.
Or you can even spend that time just commenting on the Facebook. I just sound like my sister on Facebook. She always has the. She'll never watch this.
That was the original
She.
Facebook.
I love my older sister. Every time we go on Fridays, I always took most of Friday off. I'd work until noon, 11 to noon, and then we would spend a Friday out to lunch and shopping and stuff, right? It was our bonding time that we did every week, because I worked the weekends and I worked evenings, right? You find your day that you love. So do you want to go to the loft? Yes. She puts that in front of everything. Kills me. Okay. So I was really loud. Everyone in this room should be doing 20 contacts a day. If you don't have time, if your job, other job, whatever it is, interferes in that, and you can only do 10, you better at least be doing 10 contacts a day. So in 200 days, everyone should have at least 200 people in their database. Okay? If you do 10 new contacts, and then you spend your other half of that hour talking to 10 of your existing, your mets, now we got lead gen, we're feeding our database, and we're maintaining our database. We're gonna have this many people, which will lead us to getting our 36, right? Maybe more, especially if the people that we're adding in are good people. People that are wanting to buy or sell. All right, classifying them. 20% of your database can lead to 80% of your business. It takes time, but we can get there. So your general public can slowly work their way in to become your target group, your network, your allied resources, your advocates, and then can become your core advocates. Work on your people, talk to them, get them to want to refer you. I think this gets ahead on one here, on page 15, there's like a lead generation and numbers. Oh, here's that one. Mets assumes a 12-2 conversion rate. If you have them on the 8x8, followed by the 36 for 12 months. Okay, Haven't Mets are a 50-to-1 conversion rate if you market them with a 12 direct program over the course of a year. All these programs are in command for you to utilize. Do you see the difference? 12-2 and 51. Met versus haven't met. Obviously, if we know them, it's easier to convert them, right? They know who you are, or they will know who you are. So if you had 1,920 people in your database of Mets and no haven't Mets, you could net 320 sales a year. If you had no Mets in your database, you'd have to have 16,000 haven't Mets to net 320 sales a year. We're just trying to get to 36, right? But look, if you split it up, 960 Mets and 8,000 haven't Mets to get that 320. You guys can take the numbers and figure it out. See, who wants to figure out these numbers? Who's my math wizard? To get 36 instead of 320. Oh, it's already there. Scale down these. For 36 closed transactions in 12 months, you only need 216 people in your Met database. 216 to get to 36. Max. So that would be an actual contact in your database, not a lead, because a lead we haven't talked to, right? Yeah.
I was just gonna ask, if you're putting these in command,
Mhm.
would you put like a, I don't know, flag or something? on
Tags.
it? Tags?
Yeah, we went over tags.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's all right.
Good
Hey, wait, Chris, come on time next time. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
He let me know he was gonna be late. It was an appointment.
Yeah.
Did we get it?
Well, I mean, it's a pocket listing, so, yeah.
Sweet, what is it?
Yeah. Ranch. Yeah, in Lake Grove,
Nice,
yeah.
They're selling
What's that?
They're selling
pocket listing, yeah.
Pocket listing, they'll sell it for 800, but they don't want to put it on the market right now because they're successful with a short-term rental.
it. How much land is it?
It's 2.4 acre. Yeah.
I got somebody who's looking for a house, but they need land. They
Yeah.
can't find any, like in that area, but it's like.
Yeah. No, it's tough.
What's a pocket listing?
What's that? Yeah, it's a good property. I can send you some information.
See, this is what we're gonna start doing in our team meetings, so we do
Yeah.
meetings now. There's a form that Ryan Purdy created, a Google form, for you guys to put in your haves and wants, and then we're gonna bring them up at the weekly meetings.
What's a pocket listing?
It means they're signed a listing agreement with you, but they're not ready to go on the market, or they're not gonna go on the market, but if you find a buyer for them, they'll be happy to sell it.
So is that an exclusive listing with you, or they could sign the same agreement with others?
I mean, it will be with me. We haven't signed the
It's
paperwork
exclusive,
yet,
yeah.
but that's the intent, so. And it may get to the point where he wants to put it on the market, he doesn't have anywhere for the funds to go yet. And so
So he
until he
can't sell it
figures that
yet.
out, unless he gets the price that he wants.
Yeah.
He's gonna wait, so. But for somebody who's looking, if he's willing to sell it for that price off market, then, if we put it on the market, we probably listed it, 750, 775, and it'd probably go, there'd be multiple offers.
850.
So somebody,
9.
so the right buyer, they would maybe pay a little bit more, but they wouldn't have to compete with, say, 4 other people or 5 other people
Yeah.
that would be offering on the same property. That's the strategy.
Yeah. So yeah, Chris, we did talk about,
Sorry.
no, that's okay. Making sure that when you put people in, that you're tagging them appropriately,
Okay,
right? The
Yeah.
A's, the B's, the C's, tag them as a buyer, a seller, past client, find your tag, that's gonna help you. Maximize your database and be able to touch everybody and find an easier way of filtering them,
mhm,
right? Really, that's what it's about, finding the easiest way to filter and make sure everybody has a tag, no matter what it is.
okay, thanks.
Yeah, you bet. Okay. Sources for building your mets. I think. On the next page, on page 18, they actually want to go through. Who do you already know? Right? So we can look at this list. Who do you already know that you could add to your database? Obviously, your friends and your family. Think about your friends. Close friends, next level friends, next level friends, next level friends, right? But let's go in deeper and let's talk about, and we got your neighbors. How many people have their neighbors in their database? Why not? Right? Does it kill you when you see another person's sign go up on your block? I yelled at my husband this last weekend. No one in our neighborhood knows, well, a couple of people know that I'm a real estate agent. Our neighborhood is like hotcakes. I can't get them to fix up the front yard.
What's the,
So I don't want people to know that a real estate agent. It's not up to my standards, right? It's not up to real estate agent standards, because how can I have my yard look like that and go to someone else and say, well, you did fix this stuff.
So I'm not.
So I yelled at him about it. Because again, like every single house on my block going this way, we on a T junction that ends in a cul-de-sac. We're at the T, worst possible house location ever. He bought it without me. And every house that goes down the street this way, since I've lived there with him, since 14, has been on the market.
ooh.
Ooh is right. That doesn't count the other street that leads into our subdivision that goes down over here. That probably half have gone, I'm telling you, our street is like always selling. One just went up with EXP.
Can you put a sign in your yard, even if you're not, like, can you just put a sign in your yard and
Someone's gonna come and ask, why isn't that in MLS?
right, yeah, that's what I was saying.
And
Like,
if
I
you
don't
have
know.
a sign in your yard, you can have a custom sign that says, real estate agent lives here.
Okay.
Can we do that?
Why not?
Yeah, I don't know. 'Cause
As long as it has all the marketing and everything on it,
Mhm.
right? But more importantly, you should send something out to your neighbors, like, and door knock around it and say, hey, I just moved into the neighborhood, or, you know, I'm a real estate agent.
Mhm.
A little late for me, been there forever, right? But it kills me every time I see one. I'm like, oh, our neighbor across the street.
You're building for the future, aren't they? They're gonna sell in 5 to 7 years.
They're gonna sell less than that, because a lot of those houses have already sold like 3 times in the last 2-3 years.
It's not too
I'm not
late.
kidding you.
You can't. keep
Yeah, they all
that.
don't know me anymore, right? But it kills me, right? They come over, hey, this one kills me the most. My neighbor right across the street, nicest house on the block. They had extra bark dust. And they're like, hey, do you want this? I'm like, yeah, actually, I was gonna work on because I always put bark dust in my planting areas. What are you guys doing? We're moving to Montana.
You could have got the double whammy.
Really? Do you have a real estate agent there? Yeah, we do. We already closed on a house. Where at? So lots of houses in Ulm.
Hmm.
Like I know where they went, right? Do you have a real estate agent here yet? We're listing it next week. Don't let that happen to you. Market your neighbors, right? So if you don't know who your neighbors are, how do we find them out? There's 2 ways.
From school.
No, you have better access than that. Huh? Tax records. RMLS, tax main, pull up the street and go down the list. What's another way? RPR, remember, map it, find your address, you can actually enter the address in, it'll go bing right there to your address, do a search around your address, and you can click and find every single neighbor's information. You can find out if it's owner occupied or not. Get them in your database. Put them on a marketing plan, especially if that's gonna be your farm area.
You don't ask people first before you put them in your database?
Not everybody. If I want to know their name and I want to do a mailer to them, then I'm gonna get that. Right?
I have to go back, why all?
Huh? Do I own?
Yeah,
That's what I wanted to know. So he's pretty tricky. He actually owns an electric business here. And they had another property shop / with an apartment on it, land outside of, I'm in Forest Grove. So outside of like Hillsborough, right? So they moved a lot of stuff there. They bought a house in Ulm. This is all tax, right? Because Montana, there's no sales tax. There is income tax, but the goal is for them to transition, live majority of the time over there so that they can lower their tax burden because of Oregon. My brother-in-law is looking at doing the same thing because he makes so much money here. Oregon taxes like tremendous on your income. Montana taxes on your income as well, but it's not as bad as Oregon is. Like, so his wife's they're gonna kind of bounce back and forth. That's gonna be their main mailing address. Company's in Beaverton, and he lives out in Washington County.
there's other places in Ulm.
But I know about died when he said Ulm, but they got a riverfront. So, I know. I'm from,
Me too.
where at?
Falls as well.
Great Falls?
Great Falls.
Me
as
too.
well.
Yeah.
Hey.
Hey! Aren't you glad you're not there anymore?
Yeah,
Yeah. Every time we go back for our family, it's like, oh, okay. So people who you do business with, this is the one that you're supposed to really work on this. So let's talk about the different people, the different businesses that we could touch. I wrote down a list. What I'm supposed to do is actually open up what? Random. Yeah, Cody, what's a phone book? So instead, I kind of just went and wrote down a bunch. So I'm gonna give an occupation, and if you know someone, write down the name, right? Or you can go down and write down occupations and names. How about an accountant? That should be everybody's number one, right? Your vet, if you have a dog, cat, horse, alpaca. Baby miniature goat. I'm trying. A plumber? No? Landscaper? Your dentist? Financial planner? How about, I put down your nurse instead of your doctor, because who do you actually see the most? Who talks to you the most when you go into a doctor's office? The doctor's in and out. The nurses sit and chat. I trade recipes with my nurse.
Doctor buys a big house.
But the nurse can get you more people. And it's about building that relationship, right? Because the nurse might also talk about you in front of the doctor or to the doctor, right? How about your pastor? Teachers? You got kids, it's a gold mine. Your mechanic? Someone else give me some more ideas of what type of,
Are these people that we could leverage?
yeah, well, this is, yeah, people that you know that should be in your database.
That you can
They need to be in your
leverage
database no
for
matter
business?
what. No, this is people
Just in
that,
general?
that might buy or sell with you, or know people that will buy and sell with you, that, right? This is just anybody, it's just a way of kind of thinking about anybody that you might talk to like in a year's time,
Mhm.
right?
Lenders.
Hmm?
Your lenders.
Your lenders know lots of agents though, but if you can find one that you can build a personal relationship with, I had one. While I knew she knew lots of people, the majority of the time, because we created a great friendship. That if she had anybody walk in, she would actually give them to me. Because almost every single one of my clients went to her. Even though I gave 3. It's also about how you say it, right? Yeah, 3 great lenders for you. Remember when you say first.
I was explaining to you, like, what they bring to the table. 'Cause
Yeah.
The ones I've several different years and it's for different situations and based on their personality. Someone like they're not gonna.
Right, exactly. For your lender, you should be like going to lunch with once in a while. You should be having them help you with open houses. They should be door knocking with you. They are gonna want to help market with you. They're gonna want to do seminars with you. Like don't make it a one-way street. If you've got a lender that you're the one asking for everything and doing everything, that's not the right one.
I was calling a bunch of places to find like places to buy leads, and a few of them said to contact a lender and like go in with a lender on purchasing the lead program. I was like, that's a.
Well, of course they
interesting
want you
idea.
to do that.
Well, I know that that's what they want, but it's an interesting idea. And
Yeah.
I never thought of it like that. Like the lender gets paid like when the deal goes through, right?
Peter and Alex do that. They
Oh,
have
yeah.
they have a preferred lender that they work with. And they work together. They pay a portion, not all half.
Yeah, yeah.
They pay a portion of the system that they use.
Mm,
And every single contact that comes out of it gets, both of them have access. So they're both in this CRM
Yeah.
system.
yeah.
So they're both contacting, and every time they do a buyer appointment, they always have the lender go into the room first. And then follow it up with them.
And Peter and Alex do that?
Yeah.
They the lender go in first.
Yeah, they greet them, meet them, with the understanding that the lender's also gonna be there to sit down and chat with them and get them pre-qualified. And then when they come out, they go and get them, and when they're going to get them, they're giving them a quick history of what they're walking into.
Mm,
So then they know how to handle it when they get in there. Every single buyer does that,
An awful lot of buyers,
unless they already have a lender.
yes, an awful lot of buyers now
Yeah,
are pre-qualified.
yeah, that's great.
I'm sorry,
That's great. Are they pre-qualified or are they pre-approved,
right,
right? There's a difference.
right.
you're
There's some of
approved to
both,
get
but anyway.
qualified.
Qualified to be approved.
You can also
Oh.
put random meetings.
Yes,
and so-
yeah, have them with, on anything there. You guys can, well, they used to do title companies, but I think the whole rest of the thing kind of prevents that now. But no, too, anything that you do mailing wise that you have the lender on, they've got to be approved. Especially if it's a big name company, they've got to send it through and make sure that it follows their standards, right? So you're limited on what you can do with that. Work on this, write down vendors that you know, people that you go see and do things with all the time and get them in your database.
The people who I used to paint for, he has like a pretty close relationship with a real estate agent already. So I was just thinking like that's kind of pointless to try to ask him. I mean, how would you suggest going about that? Like I could just bring you extra business maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I'd love to work with you too. Does he know you became a real estate agent?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Well, you have a different personality than the other agent.
Yeah.
You can be a better fit for some people.
yeah,
Not
fair enough.
everybody-
right? Never assume that if they have someone that doesn't mean they aren't gonna wanna work with you.
Mhm.
You might not get all their business to start with, right? Like Terry's brother, none.
It's just one time.
Work your way to it, right? Show them the benefits of what you can do and how you can help. Send one to me. I'll send people your way,
Yeah,
right? So,
Well, and sometimes those lenders have to buy houses at some point.
yeah, they do.
And I will tell you, my lender and I got to be really close, and I helped him buy his house, and he will be selling his house, and he will be purchasing a new house. And because I send all my people to him, and he knows it.
Mhm. Yep.
When he sells his house this summer, it'll be in the summer,
And they know people.
and they know.
Everybody knows someone. All right. and you can just go down the line, right? Sports and hobbies, right? A lot of, I don't sell a lot, but I do sell a little bit. A lot of my stuff comes through my scuba diving. Right? I'm on the nonprofit, I'm on the board. And I talk about scuba diving all the time. It's on my car, like I told you guys yesterday. If you have your real estate on your car, someone's gonna notice it and say something. You have to drive careful, but. But getting involved and engaged in something, if you're into sports, if you're into basketball or soccer, I was gonna say kickball. If you're into soccer, right, whatever it is that you're into, if you're engaged, in it, if you're doing the activity or you're coaching the activity, or you're just in a group of people who like to do it, right? Why shouldn't they be in your list and know that you're a real estate agent? What if you have fantasy teams? Think why. Think about every single person that you know and get them in your database. Former employees or employers, coworkers, suppliers, customers. I've got couriers that come in and out of this building that ask for me. Not me, the scuba diver. And send them up, and I've sent Dale so much business, I actually get kickbacks now. Right? Same thing, and I should get what?
You should get it for free if you said it's that much business.
Well, I can go there anytime I want.
Okay, so.
But now I get kickbacks for buying stuff.
Ah.
Yes, which I always have to buy stuff. Apparently. Organizations. Right, Rotary. Mason. What else?
Kiwanis, Elks.
Kiwanis, Elks, Lions,
Boys and Girls Club.
Women's Council. Like, there's so many things out there that you guys can get engaged and get involved in. Make sure it's something that you enjoy though. Right? Create your own. Get a wine club. It's fun, it's socializing, and it's networking, right? Create a book club. Terry's got 2 of them. Throw it on Audible and listen to it while you're driving around. Funkos.
Neighborhood parties.
But there's everything that you can do. There's so many different activities. Make it something that you really, really enjoy though. Otherwise, it's more work. And you know, we're doing work as a real estate agent, it's 24/7, it never shuts off, right? So if you're never shutting it off, which truly you're not, because you're always lead genning, right? Then make it a fun activity that you're gonna enjoy doing. And then it becomes natural and easy for you to do your lead generation because you're not really working it, right? And then you have people coming to you or going, oh yeah, don't forget, Chris is a real estate agent. It's great when it gets to that. When you guys see that, just by being engaged and involved in a group, I've only been in this new church group since October. They're all new, they know each other from the previous church that they split off and we created home churches. But I've only been in since October. I didn't know any of these people prior to that. And I already have some of them coming to me and saying, thanks, Jill, saying, hey, Tanya, I'm interested in investing. We want to buy rental properties. And then 2 weeks later, did you know Tanya's a real estate agent? To someone else in the group. How many months is that? And I didn't do anything at all. Like literally nothing.
Call college buddy about, I've talked to him for like 20 years, knew he's in real estate in another state, just picked his brain. He appreciated the call, he loved it, and he's like, well, now that I know you're in real estate,
Referrals.
I'll refer people to you, so.
And vice versa.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Did you look at the KW map to see how back and forth referrals go? Or see where are they at?
Kalispell.
Oh, Casco. People from Montana love coming to Oregon. It's half of Portland.
So much better.
Right? How many people do you know that live here? Like a lot, right? There's like everybody I know moved to Portland because it's just like Montana, but not as cold, right? You can do all the activities. Plus we have a beach. It's not a beach I want to lay on. All right. Okay, we're not doing too bad today. All right, that's, we already did that exercise. Title companies. Oh, I jumped ahead. Ah. Title companies and third-party vendors, you guys. Think about all those that you can add to it for helping out with mailers and stuff, right? We talked about that. All right, feed it every day. Make 10 new contacts. Enter 10 people into your database. Write 10 notes. Preview 10 homes a week. Not daily. So it was 10 a day, but truly, can you preview 10 homes a day?
Go to new development.
You could
Online. Yeah,
But you don't get the same thing, but you get a lot.
right, you do, right? And it's harder to preview homes now because there's not that many, right? Or it's, I mean, you can go and you can pretend you're gonna go, that you have a buyer, right? You wanna preview a home for a buyer. We used to do, and they talk about it here, it kills me. This was like pre-internet is when the broker tours were popular, the office tours were popular. And then the RMLS tours. And I think here probably, I don't know if you guys ever had that here because you're so big, but in Great Falls, 80,000 people, we had all of them. We had an office tour and we had the RMLS tour. So every week, our weekly meeting was at RMLS. And we would get in on Tuesday after the weekly meeting, and we'd follow, either we'd join up together or we'd follow in a caravan. And we'd go to the different houses that people had listed on the market, because all we saw was a black and white picture in a little box. And then as the internet came about and we got to switch off of the books, as they called it, and then the MLS systems, then we would still do that because everyone was used to doing that, right? And some sellers, especially your older sellers who have sold and listed properties before, are you doing a broker tour? If you ever hear that, you're like, well, they've kind of gone by the wayside thanks to the internet, right? If you have a high-end home, those are typically the ones you might see as a broker tour or an open for agents, right? Because it's not likely to sell as fast as all the other homes, but anything under 800,000, it's probably gonna go really quick, and they don't need to do that because the market, the internet sells the homes, right? We put it on MLS, the agent gets to see it, sold. Right? And if it didn't, what did you do wrong?
Too expensive.
You didn't price it right? All right. Your meds do not have to be local. Right? Look at your business as anywhere in the world. Because it can be. All right, this is the daily 10-4 that's expected when you're in Ignite. Expanding. So you're gonna go in deeper, right? You're gonna make phone calls and visit your past clients. You're gonna get engaged and involved in the school, church, neighbors, sports, hobbies, community. You're gonna host open houses. If you don't have a listing, you all know you can get a listing open house by one of our agents. You're gonna have a geographic or a niche farm. You're gonna contact for sale by owners. When we talked about for sale by owners, what's the best thing to ask them? Who was in my class? Anybody? Ask them what they're doing after they sell their home.
Mm.
Oh, sure.
Because everybody and their brother is calling them about listing their home for sale. And the minute you say, hi, I'm Cody from Keller Williams Realty Portland Premier, I'm not listing my house with a realtor.
Mhm.
That's not why I'm calling you. I'm calling to see whether or not, if I have a buyer that's interested in your home, will you pay me a commission? That's an easy way to transition. And then you're gonna say, and they'll say yes, or they'll say no. Great. Where are you going? What are you doing? Can I ask? What are you doing when your home sells? They're moving to another state. Well, do you have a real estate agent there? Well, I know a great agent that works over there. Can I provide you the information? Can I provide them your information? I'm gonna buy a house locally. Do you have a real estate agent that you're gonna use? No, I'm just gonna use the agent that has it listed. No, you don't wanna do that. You're not represented properly.
How would you recommend, if you have an opportunity to refer someone to another state?
Mhm.
How would you recommend kind of researching them?
Oh, easy.
Other agents.
I do it all the time.
Other agents, yeah.
Yeah, so you go into command and you go to the referral section, which is the little pin drop with the face in it. And when you get in there, you look at the map. And you're gonna search. You're gonna do map search. You're gonna choose the city that you're looking. You're gonna zoom in until you get as close to the area as possible for it to start populating agents over on the right-hand side. And then you can filter it. Think about how you do business or who they are and what type of person they might want. Most people don't want to just get tossed to a team because they're just gonna get tossed to an agent, right? You want this to be a personal, because you're sending them someone good. Whether you know them or not, you're gonna know them. So then you're gonna find, I usually look at someone that's done between 12 and 36 transactions, because it's small enough that they're probably doing it by themselves, or they might have a TC, and they can handle, and they've got enough business that they know what they're doing, right? Because it's a 12-month period that they show in that production. And then you can choose and look at, if you do a drop down, it shows you if you're on a team or not, okay? Which is fine, if you're a buyer agent on a team, they're sending a buyer, right? But then you can look at, you got their name, I Google them. I Zillow search them. I wanna see what their business is and what they've done. And then if I'm satisfied with all of that information that I see, how long have they been in the business? How long have they lived there? Sometimes they'll give that information out, right? Because if you got someone like I referred my sister's in-laws, which are my in-laws, call them Papa and Mama, to North Carolina, I know who they are, right? And I want to make sure I'm sending them to the right person. So then I pick up the phone and I call. And I thought I had chose the right person, but when I called, guess what happened?
No answer.
Voicemail box was full.
Even worse.
Forget it, went to the next person that I thought would be a good choice. Here's the best part. This is how you determine who you're gonna talk to, right? I'm calling and I leave a voicemail for the next person. I could actually leave one. Said I was looking for an agent to work with my in-laws. Please give me a call back. That one actually called me back. We
Right.
talked for a long time. She was fantastic. She was just the right person for my in-laws. So then I said, I'll send you their information and I'm gonna share your information with them. Meanwhile, I get a text message from the first one whose voicemail box was full that said, I'll call you later. Never did hear from that agent.
What made the second one? I thought you said that she didn't,
She didn't answer, but I left a voicemail
and she called you
and
right
she
back.
called me right back.
And what made her so perfect?
Oh, personality.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Plus she had a sister named Tanya. No, she reminded me of me. And and she lived there long enough and they're moving from a different state, right? Knowing what they needed and what they wanted. So you've got to talk to them. You've got to see if it's the right person. And then okay, I think you'd be great for them. I'm gonna send you their information and I'm gonna share your information with them. I'm gonna send you a referral fee. Are you good with 30%, 25%, 35%, right? For me, it depends on what I'm sending them. But someone I don't know, like a Fisbel, I might do 25%. In-laws?
35,
We can go more.
because you
You
feel,
can set your fee whatever you want. How
because,
much are we paying Opcity?
37?
35.
uh-huh.
35?
So, 35 because you feel like it's probably a for sure sale.
Yeah, for sure, Sam. Yeah. They're trusting me that I'm giving them a really good agent.
Yeah,
They don't need to sell themselves per se.
right, they're gonna put in less
They need to
work.
back up what I'm saying.
Right,
Yeah,
right. So most of us are new,
yeah.
so our websites aren't strong. And when you ask us how long we've been in the business, you're gonna get a certain kind of answer.
Well, how long you've been in business, your bio better state it. Or your skill set for it, right? Sometimes it's not necessarily how long they've been in business, because I already pulled her production. Right? I knew she had sold at least 24 homes in the last 12 months.
Oh, right, so that would let most of us out.
Probably, right?
Yeah,
But we're building and we're growing.
you said 12 to 36 or,
I did 12 to 36, and that's my personal,
yeah.
right?
And it's quite a range, so.
It is, but it also varies on where they are at. Because some areas you might not have as many sales, depending if it's a smaller city. Right?
You could also have an agent who doesn't want to work at that 36 level, but is very good.
Right,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
And you have to negotiate.
For me, it's more about
Would you negotiate that with them?
what,
Your commission?
I just
On
told
the
her, I'll send you a referral form. Does 35% sound good? Yeah, that's great.
But what if? they
And
were
then
like,
she signed
no?
it and sent it back. If it's no, then what?
So if they say no, call the next person.
Fair enough.
Right, I mean, you can, okay, no problem.
Yeah.
They're not
Then
gonna
they
say
go,
no.
Wait.
A good agent isn't gonna say no, because they know every potential referral
This
could
is
end
down the
up
road.
being further business.
And
Yeah.
hand it to them.
Yes,
It's like, I had an agent that I sent a referral, and she came back and wanted to drop the referral fee, she's like, I showed them a lot of houses. It's like, oh, boo-hoo.
Yeah.
Why can you do this?
guess what? You're a real estate agent,
Yeah, and they're super qualified, it's a great budget.
right? Like, yeah, there's no,
Never
it's a
would-
buy, right? Or it's a listing.
Mhm.
Cause maybe you might have someone that wants to sell their home and they're relying on you to give them a good referral. It's a for sure transaction, just like I have to tell you about City. You're paying 35% referral fee on it. Yeah, that bites, but it's a deal you wouldn't have had.
Mhm.
And if you treat it right, put them in your database, right? And constantly talk to them and work them and be a friend and everything that you are. My best referral was 35%. That was a long time ago when it was 25. Like there was nothing that went up and I bitched. What the hell? So I told my broker, he's a laid back guy. I would just do it. Fine. Like I'm serious, like a kid tantrum, my first year, right? Why would I want to pay 35%? I signed it, I did it, best clients ever, still friends today. Bought a house, never had to pay that Fish and Wildlife referral company ever again, because now they sent everybody directly to me. I got a listing off of it. I got a listing and a buy off of it. They bought a rental property from me. He went back to Bozeman to go to college to take another course for his job and decided to buy a condo while he was in school. So I got a referral off of it. I'm telling you, that 35% referral ended up being the best referral I ever paid in my life. Because it was the strongest business that I got.
Mhm.
And I treated them just like I treated everybody else. They didn't know I was paying a 35% referral fee. They didn't know I threw a tantrum over it. But once I listened to what my broker said and just said, all right, fine, I'll do it. And now it's like, but it's getting that mindset, right? It's a buyer or a seller you never would have had if you didn't pay it.
Well, 35% of something is better than 0%.
Absolutely, exactly.
Well, in reference to what you guys are new, so make sure your website's right, because when I was looking for referrals for my son in Detroit, Michigan, I was doing the same thing that Tanya did, and I'm familiar with agents, I called, but I looked at their Zillow reviews, so if you have clients, make sure that they get yours and review your Zillow, and be religious on it, and get your websites up, because I was looking at websites too, and making those phone calls, and I probably called 5 different agents, and called and either talked to them, left messages, and the one that got it was the one that called me back instantly. We hit it off, and my son bought a house, and she probably showed him 30 houses. They were all over the place. I got my referral. He's gonna buy an investment property. He's got the best agent, and he refers her out to everybody. She would have never gotten that had it not been.
Yeah,
But her website was updated. If they didn't have a website, a picture, anything on their website, I went to
Oh,
the next person.
yeah.
I'm like, okay, this person doesn't care enough about their business to have a website.
right?
And
If you can't find them, move on.
Yeah. Your websites are huge,
Yeah.
so.
And the websites that you guys get are free websites that KW researched to make sure that the homepage is comparable to Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, Homes.com. Consumers want to search for a house. So that's why your homepage is set the way it is. You can get featured listings and put them underneath if you have them, or you can ask agents in your office if you can put their listings on your featured listings on your website. I mean, why not, right? You're helping market them. And then all the additional pages that you have are added from Scott Leroy. Now, when you first come in and you're a brand new agent in our office, you're getting a base template. We know nothing about you. You've got to go and double check your bio and make your bio you. It's a base bio for a real estate agent to sell real estate, right? Every single person has the same one. Pictures are the same for every single person in here. If you don't know how to change any of that information, you got one person to go to.
That's a great nickname.
Go see God and tell him, what the hell, why haven't you done this for me yet? Right? But then you guys have the opportunity to add extra pages to it. If you don't have time to go see him, I did. If you go to our YouTube channel, because I used to do classes every single week on everything that you could possibly do with Command, real estate focused. There's one in there on how to add pages to your website. Go back and watch it. It's simple.
Scott Leroy is awesome about getting back to you too, because
Yeah,
I sent him an email asking a question.
they better be. We pay them.
Yeah, within like 2 hours, they responded back and like,
Yeah,
very helpful.
they're East Coast, but they respond, right? But it is really simple. There's a widget in there. It's called company page, company profile. That's the one that I've changed. You can do anything with that. And if you know code, you can really do anything with it. I know. If it's not what you want, then you're gonna go pay for a website that you want. But also Command is your lead generator, right? It's your capture. Everything that anybody that comes to your website is automatically gonna go into Command if they sign up for anything. That's what you're gonna use for your open house sign-in sheets. A contact form, plain and simple. Then their information goes right into your database and you don't have your index cards sitting all over the place, waiting for you to enter it in, right? Whatever it is. Okay. What's a fee? Everything. I'm not even gonna go down the list. Everything, you guys. Every possible thing that you can know about the person needs to go in there. Because do you think you can keep track of every single thing about one person? No, I definitely can. What's your name? right? Well, think about it, if you have 3,000 people in your database, you don't remember who's married, who's not married. You're gonna remember more about them as you do more transactions with them, or if they're engaged, like if they're really close to you and things that you do, it's easier to remember stuff about them. But when you have 3,000 people, what happens if you go to a restaurant and they're like, oh, hey, Cody? And you're like, oh, yeah. Oh, shit, who the hell is this? So I love my lender. Dude, my backup. Okay, and then we got the Ford. Everybody knows the Ford, right? How to drive the conversation. You're gonna talk about family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. It's the easiest way to go through the conversation to remember to think about. Because it's like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna say? Right? Hey, how's your family? How's your brother? That's where Facebook comes in handy. Or any social media that they're on. It comes in handy because they're sharing about their life and what's important to them. So when you're gonna talk to them, you're gonna pull them up. We're interviewing for the front desk. We stalk the heck out of everybody before we even call them up for an appointment. You should be doing the same thing. Right? In a nice way, know your people.
Not creepy.
Not creepy at all. So, buyer, seller, you need to know, what's their urgency? What's their spouse's name? What's their personality profile? Do you think it's important for you to know whether or not they're highly detailed or if they're extremely visual? It's gonna make a difference on what you're gonna present to them when you go to list their house. You come in with a full detailed spreadsheet like Peter has, peace out. I don't wanna see that, that gives me. Right? If I'm super highly detailed and I want to see graphs and charts about what the market's doing today, and you come in with just pictures and how you're gonna market my property and what what your signs look like and all this other stuff, and you don't give me fine detailed charts, do you think I'm gonna have you list my property? Absolutely not. So know their personality profile. Everybody wants a happy birthday on their birthday,
I don't.
unless you're getting old.
No, that has nothing to do with it. I don't like it when the dentist sends a happy birthday or the chiropractor.
No?
No, I don't like it at all.
Why?
Because they're not really my friends. I may like them. They're friends at a certain distance,
Yeah,
but they're not my happy birthday friends.
yeah. Well, we want as real estate agents to be their happy birthday friends.
Yeah, but you can't with all of these people.
No, not with
You
everybody.
really can't be.
We're talking A's, B's are gonna be in that group,
Okay,
right?
You did a transaction.
that makes more sense.
You did a transaction with them,
Yeah. that
You
makes
should
more
know,
sense. That makes more sense.
right? Their hobbies and their interests. Facebook and Instagram, right? Children. Oh, shoot, yeah, 5 kids. When that happened. You better know, right? You better know if they're pregnant. Or not pregnant. That's a good.
Just assume.
I've done it.
Most people have.
That's gotta be
Right,
tough.
especially when it's like, I don't know, almost like that perfect form, right? Y'all know when all the women know what I'm talking about. It's like, oh, she's gotta be like 8 months. We all want to touch, right? I do. All right. 2 minutes. How many pages do we have left?
40.
No. All right, you guys, it's all about your database. Let's go. I said, where's my song? I thought he was on top of that.
You want me to sing?
No, I just said it's all about the database. You should have
It's all about the face.
all about the base. Ready to roll. All right. Okay, checklist. You guys, this is a really good checklist over here on page 26. If they have it on here. Oh. Use the checklist on the following page.
Tanya, I just want to, I can't play the song if you're sharing your screen. That's the issue. That's the only issue. I already had it ready for you, but sorry.
You guys, this is like another contact information sheet, like on what you should know about a person and what you should know about their property, right? All right, thanks for coming, guys. You have your sheets. Don't like not read through them. How many contacts